So
hello.
I don't know. But like speaking of defense, I'm actually gonna shift the subject a little bit. Eric Reid, who first off, what do you guys thought on Eric Reid's game today?
He can't cover worth a damn.
He had a very Dante Jackson like
boomer bust. Boomer bust.
No, he got beat on the route so bad that after he regained his composure and caught up with the receiver, he turned around to track the ball, and he couldn't find the ball because the receiver had the ball in the end zone celebrating already. That's how bad Eric Reid was in coverage today.
And also, to me, if he was in the correct placement on that last Drew Brees heave in the end zone, he could have had an interception.
Yeah.
Leave that one alone.
And it's crazy because with as bad as he is in coverage, he makes so many plays in the box.
See, that's the problem with the Panthers too. I don't think we're great at developing young players. Rashawn Golden should have been playing. What's the guy name? Trey Boston is the same way. He's a good thumper, but you can't have two safeties that are not good in coverage.
Yeah.
And so that's part of our downfall too.
Who have below average speed, by the way, because they're not the fastest guys either, man. So they don't cover a lot of ground. And like Rodney said, you just can't have two safeties that play the exact same way. You're gonna get this a lot, man. You know.
So, do you guys think Eric Reid needs to focus a little bit more on his gameplay and a little less on his activism?
I'll let you go first of all.
Come on now, let's go.
I'll say this. What's my favorite saying?
Optics matter.
Optics are everything. So when you're in Atlanta with your boy, basically less than 24 hours before your game here in Charlotte, and you go out there and you stink it up, how are we supposed to back you up, man? How are we supposed to defend that? You get what I'm saying? So optics mean a lot, man. It's not a good look right now, man. It's not a good look right now when you're very vocal, which I don't have a problem with. But the reality is when you're vocal and you're talking every week, but then you don't have best game on Sundays, you're gonna have some eyes on you, man.
What you got, Rodney?
Honestly, I'm tired of the NFL. Tired of Colin Kaepernick. I'm just tired of the whole situation. Just shut up and play.
Just shut up, man.
And shut up and play. I mean, at this point, just play.
I'm tired of Stephen A. Smith. I'm tired of Terrell Owens. I'm tired of everything. I'm tired of everybody.
You can't be tired of Terrell Owens. He literally just showed up.
I don't care. I don't care.
Like it's just funny to me. Like T.O.'s like, you're not black enough. Like, dude, like, who made you the
authority?
Who made Black America? Like, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of Stephen A. Smith, what he says, but I do respect differing opinions. Stephen A. crosses the line a lot. But
habitual line crosser.
Habitual line crosser, but T.O., you're supposed to be a friend to Stephen A., address that in private.
Right.
But
I've never heard T.O. speak on the black issue ever in my life.
But can you not hold that same standard as Stephen A.? Because Stephen A. is friends with a lot of the people that he talk about.
That goes when I said I don't agree with a lot of Stephen A. what he says.
But I also believe Stephen A. will tell them the same thing
in private.
On TV, in private. So.
I believe Terrell Owens would tell Stephen A. the same thing that he told him on TV the other day.
I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
Okay, so now since we're kind of getting on this whole activism thing, when it comes to Eric Reid and his unwavering support for Colin Kaepernick, do you think him being so outspoken, considering he is actually playing in the NFL, do you think he's actually doing more good or harm in regards to Colin Kaepernick?
So I got a funny little nugget, man. So, while he had some really bad plays today, I'm on Twitter. My buddy was like, all right, Eric, you better shape up before you be unemployed like your boy. And I didn't want to laugh at that. But at the same time, man, it just goes back to the point I really just made, man. It's like, you're so vocal. Who's to say you're not on a short leash? Who's to say if you don't play for the Panthers, somebody else won't pick you up for the same reasons that they don't pick up Colin Kaepernick? Now, we don't want that to happen. You get what I'm saying? I'm definitely not promoting that and wanting that to happen. But we've seen Colin Kaepernick's reality. We don't want the same reality for Eric Reid. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, man, tread lightly, man.
I got 2 points, man. 2 points. Him campaigning for Carolina to pick up Kaepernick at one point. How would you feel if you were Will Greer and Kyle Allen.
Right.
Like that can cause some friction in the locker room. It's best to like, hey, he just needs a job. Don't like, he needs to be here. Chill out.
I got you. Right.
And then also another thing, man. I wish Colin was more outspoken about himself. I wish I can hear him speak more. Like, talk to us more. Tell us what you want. Like, I wish he was more out there.
Because the popular word this week was transparency, right? Yeah. Everybody was using the word transparency. Transparency. Oh, he changed the narrative. No, he didn't change the narrative. Nothing was very transparent to me this week. No. Man. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just alluding to your point. Like, if you want to be transparent, you need to talk more. You need to defend your position a lot more. So there's no questions to be asked. So
I like Kaepernick. What you stood on is admirable. I mean, I don't want to hear Nessa. I don't want to hear Eric Reid.
Right.
I don't want to hear other people. I want to hear you, my dude.
Right.
And like,
I don't want to hear Miko Grimes.
and like people always say like he made the sacrifice. No, man, he got money still. Like, he got a settlement.
Let's be clear.
He got the Nike.
But the settlement had nothing to do with the activism.
It doesn't. But he got the Nike deal too, man.
But how does that justify what has happened to him?
Nothing. I mean,
it doesn't. It doesn't. It
doesn't.
What I think what Rodney was saying, what I would say is like either way, he still won something.
He still won. He's still a winner at the end of the day, man. He didn't lose everything.
That's not the same as saying we're letting the NFL off the hook.
He didn't lose.
Muhammad Ali lost everything.
How so?
He went to jail.
Because he lost his freedom.
Because he went to jail. Okay, and when he went to jail, he obviously was not allowed to box. And when he finally was allowed to box again, it was obvious he had lost his step.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick still lost his livelihood. He still lost his way of life. And the settlement had nothing to do with him kneeling and protesting.
No. This is my thing. Even with the settlement, like, good for you guys. I'm happy for you. Like, this is my issue. If there was some systemic racism going on within the NFL, expose that mug. Don't sign a hush hush. Expose.
I agree with that.
Expose everything. Like if you're gonna be all the way in, help everybody.
Right.
I agree with that. But see, I honestly think we're at the point right now that Colin Kaepernick honestly cannot do anything without being criticized because
from everybody,
he took the settlement, and you're right here saying that like, why take the settlement? Why not expose him? But if he refuses to take a settlement, then the narrative is, well, you really don't want to play for the NFL because you had a chance to settle, and you're choosing to continue to sue.
It's a slippery slope.
I
mean, and that goes back to this past week where everybody was all about transparency. He got the invitation to work out with like less than a week notice and all that good stuff, and it was
the NFL is trash for that one too. And I mean, usually the workouts happen on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold a workout on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
With less than a week's notice.
And it was and it was damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because if he goes and work out, even though it's a sham workout, like he misses out because he's doing it to the he's playing by the NFL rules essentially. Yeah. But if he recognizes that this is BS and he chooses not to, then you get he really doesn't want to play. Otherwise, he would have worked out.
I have one last question about Colin Kaepernick. You think he can play kicker?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So you think he has some college eligibility left so he can play kicker for Florida State?
He can't go back and play for Florida State. He can't go play for Florida State. He can't do that.
You got one more Florida State joke.
But